I'm going to do a little demo here using that basic interior lighting model that you are all working with right now. And as you can see, I've started out with a basic lighting design like the cube was done. I've set up 4 spotlights, pointing one for each wall and one for each the ceiling and the floor. And let's just take a look at how this is going to render. Let's do a little test render here. And as you can see, it's basically lighting the room, giving it some ambient, but giving it some control for each one of these walls. We could probably do the same thing using the ambient. There is no, if I were to select one of these lights, I don't have any shadows, either ray traced or depth map shadows on any of these lights. So this is going to be my my starting lighting setup, and I've set them to 0.2 intensity, just like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just one light. I have my ambient kind of set up, and again you can use the ambient light, but I've decided to use the cube setup that you just did. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to determine where my light source is, and of course it's pretty obvious that the light source is coming from this top ceiling lamp here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a light, and I'm going to go into create light, and I'm going to create a point light. Where are we? Oh, I hate this. There we go, point light, and this is going to come into the floor here, and I'm going to move this into position here, and it's going to be pretty bright. Don't let the display value fool you, because, well, let's just take a look. Let's do a little quick render here and see what it looks like. The display is going to be a little different than what the rendering is going to be. But I want to position this light in basically right underneath where that light bulb is, and that can be a little tricky. So something I like to do is maybe go into the top view here and zoom in a little bit here, and let's position that light right over the light bulb, just like that. And then I'm going to go into here and just put it right underneath the light bulb, just like that. There we go. Now I just want to show you real quick. Let's do a quick render here, and you can see that it's lighting, but it's also lighting kind of the light bulb object here as well. And if we were to move that up inside the light bulb, just like that, you can see that it's lighting. It's not actually lighting the light bulb, but it's lighting the room. Now you may think, oh, that makes sense, that's going to work. It's also going to be lighting underneath the lamp here. But I want to do something. I want to add shadows to this. And so if I were to have that light selected and go in, I'm going to add some depth map shadows, and I'm going to go, I can do it from my channel box here. This gives me the ability to turn on and off shadows, and if I put 1 is on, 0 is off, and I do a render here, you can see that it's not doing anything. That's because I have shadows on, and the light is lighting inside the light bulb. So I have to bring it just outside the light bulb, just like that. Let's do a little test render here, and there we go. Now we can see the shadows that it's casting. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see a little bit more of what the room looks like with the light and the shadows. And we have our room lit with some shadows lit from this light fixture up here. Okay, so that's looking okay. I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking on this light here. I'm going to actually move it right. Oops. If I press F, it will zoom right into whatever object I am selected to, and I'm going to move that just right below that. I had a little bit of a distance. So what that does is that's going to create the kind of shadow that I want. Now this is pretty bright, and I want to I want to play with the intensity. So I'm going to do an IPR render here. And I'm going to just select a region here in my IPR. And I'm going to change the intensity. And I'm going to make the intensity about 0.5. Let's see what that does. Actually, that's looking pretty good. I'm kind of liking the intensity of that 0.5. If we did it a little darker, let's do it 0.3. Let's see what that looks like. No, I think 0.5 is a bit better. So I'm going to make that 0.5. And now I want to give it a little color. It doesn't really have any kind of interesting color. And I'm going to go into my attributes. I can change it from here, but I'm also going to go into my attributes editor for that light and click on the color. And I'm going to make this color a little more yellow. And you can see it updating here. So we've got kind of a warmer light going on. And there you have it. That's how you create sort of an effective light bulb there. Now you're probably saying, well, that doesn't really look very realistic because, you know, it's lighting from the lamp and everything, but I'm not really seeing the light source here. Well, let's fix that. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to zoom in, press F. I'm going to zoom in onto this light. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select that light bulb surface there, and I'm going to assign a new material. And I'm going to go material attributes, assign new material, and I'm going to make it a blend. And let's make it white. Let's make it kind of white. And I'm going to up the transparency, and you can see that there's a filament in there. If we go in, let's zoom in a little bit more, you can see that there's some, actually, there is some geometry inside that light bulb. But I've made it transparent. Let's do a IPR render and just take a look and see what we've got going on here. There you go, there's your light bulb. I'm going to do an IPR so we can kind of see some of the value here. So I've made the light bulb sort of transparent, and I'm also going to give it some incandescence. So I've given the light bulb some brightness, the actual surface, some brightness there. And let's just call that good. Let's go back and let's just kind of see what that looks like. And I can also change the color a little bit. I'm going to keep it white for now. Let's just look and see what that render looks like. Well, that's looking a little better. At least we have a light source coming from that light bulb, and it's a little more convincing. I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to do something a little tricky here that you're gonna think is pretty neat, I'm sure. And I'm going to grab this light, that point light that I have lighting the room, and I'm going to duplicate it. Now, as you can see, when I duplicated it, it added twice the amount of light, because now I have two lights lighting the room. And if we were to do a render, you're going to notice that it's lighter. But I'm going to move that point light up into the light bulb like that. And let's just look at the properties. The shadow map is on. And we have the point light attributes open already here, and I'm going to go into light effects, open up that tab, and I'm going to go into light glow. I'm going to open up that properties for the light glow, and that's going to add a glow light. It's going to add a glow property to this light here. Now let's just do a little render here and kind of look and see what that looks like. And we're added some glow to that. Now you can change this a little bit. I have star points on it. I'm not really liking the star points, so I'm going to get rid of that. Let's do an IPR render so we can see this update here. And we've got a light there, and then we can change the intensity of that. Let's see what happens if we press that. Oh, that doesn't do anything. We can change the intensity of that light glow, of that that glow, if we go back up into the light properties, and let's mess with the intensity a little bit. Let's make it about 0.2. Backspace, and we're having a little bit of a light glow there, and that's looking pretty good. That's looking like kind of a nice, well lit, realistic ish looking scene. Now, if we just want to notice that, if you notice that there's, for the light glow, there is this boundary property, and the light glow is going to kind of emanate past this object here, so you have to be careful with the light glow. It doesn't have any properties to stop the glow from going through like some of these objects, some of these surfaces here. So if I look at this, let's go in here, let's move this out of the way, let's compose a nice little composition here. And there we go. We have the scene somewhat lit, and it's looking fairly good. We're going to address some of these other hard shadows and things like that later. I'm going to do just one more thing I think is kind of neat here. If you want to really kind of go wild with this, you're going to notice that there's a window here, and even at night there's going to be light coming from that window. So I'm going to create another light, and I'm going to create an area light, like so. And I'm going to bring it outside here. Actually, let's bring it up right there. Let's bring it right outside this window here. I'm going to position it just outside this window and kind of size it up a little bit, like so. You get the idea here. And I'm going to go change the color to like a blue color, like that. There we go. Where's the color history? Where is that? There we go. I'm going to make it kind of a bluish color, like that, and I'm going to make the intensity 0.3. It's always good to put the intensity down. I think that the default intensity levels of these lights tend to be a little high when they first come in. And there we go, we've got some light coming in kind of from this window. You'd want to surface this with like an image or something like that, but for now this is looking kind of good. I want to do one more thing. I'm going to, with that light selected, I'm going to turn on shadows. Let's just do depth map shadows. 1 is on, and close that down. Let's turn it so we don't actually see the window. We just see where the light is coming from. And do a render here, and let's see what we've got. And now we have kind of a bluish light. It almost looks like a television in a way. I guess it could be, but we have some light coming in, casting a shadow from these plants and stuff, and a light. The main light for the room is coming from this lamp over here. We will continue to work on this a little more, but this is just the basic lighting setup for now.